What's the first one? You, amigo? How about you, Hello?
It's time to play Chuck Norris SUPERKICKS on your Atari 2600. But make no mistake, you don't play Chuck Norris SUPERKICKS. Chuck Norris SUPERKICKS plays you. You understand that? Did you know that Chuck Norris had a role in Star Wars? He was the Force. Did you know that Chuck Norris once a year... Did you know that once a year the flu gets a Chuck Norris shot? It's true. In this game, Chuck Norris walks, but if he steps on the grass, you get penalized. That's because your ass is grass if you mess with Chuck Norris, and Chuck Norris is a lawnmower. Chuck Norris goes his merry way until somebody wants to mess with him, and then he kicks them straight to hell, as they deserve to have had done to them. Chuck Norris doesn't read books. He stares them down until he gets the information he wants. Time waits for no man, unless that man is Chuck Norris. In the beginning, there was nothing. Then Chuck Norris roundhouse kicked nothing and told it to get a job. Chuck Norris once peed on a truck. That truck is called Optimus Prime. When God said, "Let there be light," Chuck said, "Say please." If Chuck Norris has to travel to an alternate dimension in which there was another Chuck Norris and they both fought, they'd both win. The dinosaurs looked at Chuck Norris the wrong way once. You know what happened to them. Chuck Norris's tears cure cancer. Too bad he's never cried. Since 1940, the year Chuck Norris was born, roundhouse kick-related deaths have increased 13,000%. Chuck Norris is not over the stove, oven, or a microwave, because revenge is a dish best served cold. Chuck Norris does not sleep. He waits. Now in this game, Chuck Norris makes his adventures, and some idiot just comes and messes with Chuck Norris. Just has to do it, doesn't he? Just has to. And they'll pay the price, because Chuck Norris has kicks, and he's got punches. Although I didn't do it there. Kicks him straight to hell. Straight to hell. Chuck Norris can do anything he damn feels like. On the seventh day God rested, Chuck Norris took over. Chuck Norris can dribble a bowling ball. Chuck Norris drinks napalm to fight his heartburn. If you want a list of Chuck Norris enemies, just check the extinct species list. Some kids pee their name in the snow. Chuck Norris can pee his name into concrete. Chuck Norris counted to infinity twice. Chuck Norris can speak Braille. Chuck Norris can do a wheelie on a unicycle. Chuck Norris stands faster than anyone can run. You know this one. Once a cobra bit Chuck Norris's leg. After 5 days of excruciating pain, the cobra died. Chuck Norris once won a game of Connect 4 in 3 moves. Champions are the breakfast of Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris can kill 2 students with 1 bird. Chuck Norris can play the violin with the piano. The dark is afraid of Chuck Norris. Do you understand? Death once had a Chuck Norris experience. Chuck Norris can strangle you with a cordless phone. Chuck Norris never retreats. He just attacks in the opposite direction. Chuck Norris can drown a fish. Do you understand? When Chuck Norris does his thing, nobody can mess with it. And in this game, people want to mess with Chuck Norris. And they pay the price. With his ill kicks, he'll kick you straight to hell. But if you go further in the game, there's more than that. He's got these punches, too. Look how Chuck avoids a star. Just another day in the office for Chuck, so he moves on. Moves deeper into enemy territory. Chuck Norris loves it. This is a morning walk for him. This is what he calls a nice morningly hike. Chuck likes to get beat at first like this. He likes getting... That's foreplay for Chuck. You understand? I wasn't losing there. That's foreplay for Chuck. And Chuck Norris once had a heart attack. His heart lost. When Chuck Norris looks in the mirror shatters. Because not even glass is dumb enough to get in between Chuck and Chuck Norris. When Chuck Norris enters a room, he doesn't turn the lights on. He turns the dark off. The only time Chuck Norris has ever gone wrong is when he thought he made a mistake. Chuck Norris can tie his shoes with his feet. The quickest way to a man's heart is with Chuck Norris's fist. Chuck Norris is the only person that can punch a Cyclops between the eye. You get it? There's never been a hurricane named Chuck because it would have destroyed everything. Outer space exists because it's afraid to be on the same planet with Chuck Norris. When Chuck Norris does a push-up, he's pushing the Earth down. Chuck Norris is the reason why Waldo is hiding. Chuck Norris doesn't wear a watch. He decides what time it is. He decides what time it is. You get it? Chuck Norris does not get frostbite. Chuck Norris bites frost. Chuck Norris spices his steaks up with pepper spray. The Great Wall of China was originally created to keep Chuck Norris out. It didn't work. Chuck Norris can get in a bucket and lift it with himself up. Chuck Norris is the only man to ever defeat a brick wall in the name of tennis. Chuck Norris doesn't shower, he only takes blood baths. Chuck Norris can divide by 0. Chuck Norris destroyed the periodic table because Chuck Norris only recognizes the element of surprise. Chuck Norris once kicked a horse in the chin. Its descendants are now known as giraffes. When Chuck Norris does division, there are no remainders. When Chuck Norris watches 60 minutes, it only takes him 10 minutes. Chuck Norris once went skydiving, but promised never do it again. 1 Grand Canyon is enough, folks. 1 Grand Canyon is enough. He just keeps kicking ass, and he keeps moving on. You can take either path, but let Chuck pick for you, okay? Just let Chuck pick for you. And if any of these idiots want to mess with you, by God, you give them the Chuck Norris kick in the name of Chuck, and he might give you his thumbs up. Just another stroll for Chuck Norris, because Chuck Norris loves to kick ass. Who is that, Joe Piscopo? I'm telling you, you can't mess with Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris had to stop washing his clothes in the ocean. Too many tsunamis. Chuck Norris can sneeze with his eyes open. Chuck Norris can cook minute rice in 30 seconds. Chuck Norris beat the sun in a staring contest. Superman owns a pair of Chuck Norris undies. Chuck Norris doesn't breathe. He holds air hostage. You get it? Chuck Norris can clap with one hand. Chuck Norris doesn't need to shave. His beard is scared to grow. Before he got a gift... In an average living room, there are 1,000 objects that Chuck Norris could use to kill you, including the room itself. Chuck Norris invented airplanes because he was tired of being the only person that could fly. Chuck Norris's belly button is actually a power outlet. Freddy Krueger has nightmares about Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris is the only man who can fight himself and win. Chuck Norris's cowboy boots are made from real cowboys. Chuck Norris can start a fire with an ice cube. And the flu gets a Chuck Norris shot every year. Do not mess with Chuck Norris, but do buy Chuck Norris Super Kits for Atari 2600. This was my second review of this because I couldn't allow my first review with all that bright, bad reflection. Chuck Norris would never allow it, and I had to do it all over again. I hope you enjoyed my review. Have a good night. Let's just hope Chuck Norris has mercy on our souls.